Welcome back. 10:12, a little bit of change. Kathryn Chapman on the line. Good morning and happy Tuesday to you.
Good morning.
Well, this is really, really cool. Kathryn, I really appreciate you making this work today so we can get this information out from the Center of American Archaeology up in Kampsville. Wild Clay Ceramics Workshop taking place in just a month, August 8th through the 11th. This is really, really cool, Kathryn.
It is. A lot of people seem to show interest in this, and I first started doing this when I began working at the Center for American Archaeology 8 years ago. I was teaching kids how we find clay along creek beds and how we harvest it and work it into pots, just as people did in ancient times.
This is so cool. And take me through just that first interaction when you guys first decided to do this, Kathryn, and you decided, let's go ahead and teach the kids how to do this. What were some of just the feedback? What were some of those insights? Did they just grab right into this and love it?
Okay, well, first off, this is something the C.A.A. has taught long before I came here 8 years ago is when I first encountered it.
Right.
And yes, kids, when we take kids out into the creek, I have had many a time when they are nervous about getting dirty or the bugs or any of that. And I've literally come back with groups of kids soaking wet and covered in clay.
I love it.
They immerse themselves into the experience. They love doing it. Then they make their pots. They proudly take them home. And what they make isn't even the fired finished stuff. We only air dry it because of the shortened field trip time. Our workshop is going to be much more in-depth and cover much more of the skill and nuance of making pots to finished projects so that people will have really beautiful things when they're done.
And, Kathryn, if you could overview this 4-day wild clay ceramic workshop, what can we expect? But before we truly go into that, too, I would like to ask you, too, how was this able to be funded? Was there a grant? Was there something we needed to highlight here on the Daily Show today?
Excellent, yes. This has been partially funded through the Two Rivers Art Council grant. It's a great organization that helps to bring more art-based, public, interactive opportunities to our area, which is more rural, of course, so we don't have as many opportunities for that. So we are very grateful for them. And I always forget the other part. It's the Illinois Council, which is also part of that. So a friend of mine had told me about them a few years ago, and they have been very graciously supporting our various different activities where we've brought artists to our archaeology day in previous years, and then they're doing this year.
Well,
go ahead,
Kathryn. I just before we go into the event as well, could you overview the Center for American Archaeology for the folks down here in Alton that may have never gone up? This is a wonderful spot up in Kampsville.
Certainly, yes. The Center for American Archaeology was founded in 1953. The main person known for that is Stuart Strever, and it has operated on a mission of promotion of education, research, and public outreach in the field of archaeology since then. Most people have known us for the Coster site era excavation, which was about a decade of excavation on a very specific site, offered a lot of information to the archaeological record for the area, but we have done hundreds of excavations during that time, and since that time, for a while, we had a contract crew which went out and did work when you have roadways or buildings going up. It is required by law to do what's called cultural resource management. So that's when archaeologists go in first to see if there's anything that will be destroyed or disturbed from the archaeological record before those buildings and roads and pipelines and whatever go in. And at one time we had that crew. We don't anymore. And then they shifted, and this is all before my time, so this is just a brief overview, but they shifted to focusing more heavily on the field schools in the summer. So that's primarily what we do now. We have a number of field schools, one for high school, one for college age, and then there's some focused area field schools that are offered as well, one on geophysical, one on bioarchaeology. Then the area that I've covered more myself since I've been here is the younger children. So I do field trips for grade schools in the spring and fall mostly, and then over the summer I've had a day camp, and I've started library programs where I go and do a book reading and an activity in libraries throughout the state.
That's really, that sounds fantastic, Kathryn. It seems like this is something you're very passionate about, especially to get those younger children out there and really get their hands, in the dirt a little bit, and to get out in nature and just educate them. I'm sure that's got to be a priceless part of the job.
It is. I do love sharing this with kids because it isn't just the excavation part, but it's the studying of humans and humans throughout time. Those are all our ancestors, and recognizing all of our similarities helps us to approach new things and new people with more open eyes and open minds.
That's a great point. And now on top of all of this, with the workshop that's coming up, this Wild Clay Ceramics workshop, I got to ask you right off the bat before we go into the overview and go through the days and all of those great details, can we find clay right in our creek bed?
Typically, yes. Illinois is loaded with clay. At one time, I think it was there were like 63 different potters that businesses
Wow.
that existed in Illinois, and it's because of the way the glaciers left the soil and stuff after they receded. So the glaciers were part of how that got left. And I'm not a geologist, so I'm terrible about explaining that.
It sounded good to me.
Okay, but yeah, thanks for the glaciers. We have all these clay deposits. So even kids who've come here from more of the local area with my day camp, they're like, oh yeah, we get clay from the creek. And kids will naturally just play in the dirt and they'll make things if it has that plasticity that clay exhibits. So I think naturally humans will play with those things.
And, as we're talking about this, the workshop starts on August the 8th, and this runs 4 days, correct?
Correct.
And what's the cost to attend all 4 days?
We are only charging $100 per person, mostly as a kind of help to cover the cost of getting the word out and, minor costs. But it's part of our outreach program, so that's why we're keeping the cost really low. We'd love for people to try and take part in this. We have to have they have to be 12 years and up, and if they're a 12-year-old, they must have an adult with them. We will offer dorm accommodations for anyone who wishes to make use of that. If they don't, they're free to drive in every day if they'd like, or there are areas for camping, either in a camper or in tents nearby, very nearby. So they can choose that. What we will provide is a field lunch, which is just sandwiches, chips, fruit on a daily basis, and then they'll be responsible for their dinners and breakfast.
But still $100 for 4 days with accommodations. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you here, Kathryn. I thought when I read the $100, it was $100 per day.
Oh no, yeah, I know it's kind of one of those things we would have loved to have done it 100% free. At the same time, we had
wow.
We just want to make sure people come committed to taking part and help us cover the cost of the lunches and some basics.
That's just wonderful.
But yeah, we really, really, really want people to come and take part in this and learn. So it's late summer, hopefully before kiddos go back to school. Maybe mom or dad and a child might want to come and do this as a fun family thing. If students who are about to go back into anthropology or ceramics, art stuff, want to give this a go and see what this is like, this is a great opportunity for them, or just anybody who's curious.
Well, and as we're talking about this as well, on August the 8th, what time does the workshop start each day?
We'll start at 9 a.m. each day. We'll break for lunch, and then we plan to wrap up around 2:30 each day. It can vary depending on how the work is going and other things that happen since you're working with the clay and such. The first day, our teacher, who I should introduce, his name is Kyle Bird. He is a ceramicist I met at a primitive skills gathering. And he's an excellent teacher. I was very impressed with his ability. He was teaching kids all the way through adult, and he's very good at disseminating the information so that everyone can understand what he's saying. He is very environmentally aware and friendly, so he is cautious and will instruct on when to harvest clay and when to not touch it in a creek, because those things can impact the environment and how water flows and things like that. So you got to be very mindful of those things. and he's skilled. He has
Baby, now it's too late, though we really did try to win.
Heck of a Tuesday with this technical stuff. Kathryn Chapman is back on the line after we had a little bit of a disconnection there. My apologies to you there, Kathryn.
oh, no problem.
It's been an interesting day with all the.
It definitely has.
And you know, I just think this is so cool, Kathryn, because honestly, you're giving, you guys at the Center of American Archaeology are giving, so many individuals with, kids, parents, people of all ages to come out and just be a part of this. And, day one, this pot making basics, we were talking about that before. I don't know what happened and we got disconnected. Could you fill me in on what day one looks like?
Sure. Yes. So people, of course, will show up and get an idea of who the instructor is, Kyle Bird. And then he is going to come with prepared clay that he's already worked with so that they will learn the basic skills of making a coil pot. And the purpose of this on day one is to make sure it gets done and we'll have time to dry so we can fire it on the final day. And also it gives you an idea of what the goal is. So if you're working with clay that's already prepared, you'll know what you're aiming for from when you go back to the beginning process of harvesting it. So day two, we'll be harvesting it. So we're going to go out in our local area, show people where we find the clay, do the harvesting, and then process it so that it is ready to be used in a pot just as we did on day one. So we take it from that ultra first step to ready to use clay. The third day is actually going to be a little bit of a down day, not as much activity. We may actually, depending on what participants want to do, we can work with some more clay. We can go look at other areas to find more clay. It's a day that we've built into the schedule so that we will have time to let the pots dry for really good firing. Otherwise, they might explode and have more problems. Oh. But we are also going to provide on that day a presentation by a local ceramicist. Her name is Susan Bostwick. She's out of the Edwardsville area. And her friend, Aileen, who is an archaeologist, the two of them have worked together to try and figure out ways to determine where clay deposits used in prehistoric vessels have originated. So they've talked to some of our visitors before, and we're really excited to have them back. So that'll be a fun addition to this whole thing. That talk is actually going to be open to the public. So anybody, even if they're not taking the workshop, will be available to and come hear that, pardon me. And then the final day is probably going to be about a half day, and it's just going to be firing the pots. So that's Sunday, and then gives people time to get home and kind of reintegrate into their own lives before the week starts.
I got to ask you, Kathryn, have you ever had a bad firing of pots? Personally, like
myself, personally, well, yeah, because I haven't done much firing, but when I took Kyle's class at the Primitive Skills Gathering, the dish I made actually broke during firing.
Oh, wow. Well, and what I just think is so cool about this, I know that you guys all just celebrated 70 years of archaeology, education, research, and outreach up in Kampsville, and we're going on year 71 this year, correct?
Correct. So in September, we'll have hit 71.
How important is it for the entire organization, across the board, to have workshops, to have this type of outreach? Because to me, just from hearing hearing you speak the last couple of minutes on our conversation, it seems like this outreach component is very vital for your guys' mission.
It is. It super is. And the last few years in particular, because we have a museum, but as many who know us will know, it's been closed since 2019 because of the flood. So it's been pretty much on my shoulders in many ways to continue outreaching. I go to many events, such as the Earth Day in the spring. Trying to think of the other ones, but when I get a chance, I've gone down to the farmers market and had demonstrations and let people throw spears. And it's really important that we let people know that archaeology is important. Knowing our past is important, and these skills that people have had since the very earliest people are also important. They're fundamental to who we are as humans.
100% over. And, I didn't realize, with the flooding in 2019 that affected that. I was in St. Louis doing radio at the time. And Kathryn, how has it been just, the last couple of years since the flooding, 5 years later, as you're, trying your best to keep spreading the word? What are some ways that maybe folks can help share the message? Is there are you guys pretty active on social media where we could help share, or maybe say, hey, you need to call the Center of American Archaeology down for an educational workshop with the students? What can we do to help you?
Well, they're more than welcome to visit our Facebook page. I will admit we are not super active on social media because we have a smaller staff, and social media takes time.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And as a person who doesn't like to do social media in her personal life,
Oh, yeah. Same here. Same here.
it makes it a little harder to want to get on there. But we do share things. So when they see our post, if they like us and follow us, they can share when we do share for our events. We have other free events that occur, like in October, we'll also have a nap-in for those who might like stone tools and stone working more than clay.
Yeah.
That is during the Old Settlers Days here in Kampsville, but we'll be at the Macaulay Heritage Project south of town on Friday and Saturday, where flint knappers will gather, and you can bring artifacts. We'll have artifact ID. So that's something. And if there are teachers or librarians or other sorts of educators that would like to bring our services to their students and their participants, they can easily reach out and check out our website, look for past Lifeways programs, or call us directly, and we can talk about what we can offer. We also will do talks for adults at libraries, too, so we're not limited to just children. If there's anybody interested in that, just give general talks on different archaeology topics or about the current excavation, stuff like that.
That's really cool. And Kathryn, as we have been talking about the Wild Clay Ceramics Workshop that is coming up August the 8th through the 11th, I wanted to ask you, out of all the services that you render at the Center for American Archaeology and all of the different outreach that you do and all of your different day-to-day tasks, where do you find the most joy? Is there a certain topic? Is wild clay, is that something that really fascinates you? Are you more into stone work? What really fits your fancy?
Oh, boy. When I was in school, I actually studied zooarchaeology, which is the study of the animal remains. So I do get fascinated looking at animal bones. But I would say I probably have found a love for flint knapping. I'm a modestly decent beginner. I'm not. I understand it really well, but the skill level I don't practice as much as I should. But I'm getting better. Every year I get better. And I also really love working with plant fibers, making cordage. The clay fascinates me. The final product fascinates me. But one of the secrets about me is I don't like the feel of clay on my hands.
Same here.
So,
Thank you for saying that.
I will do it enough to teach the kids, and then I'm usually washing my hands very quickly and encouraging them to keep work. But because kids love that, most of the kids just love that, and I'm glad they do. But that's one of the things. No, I just don't care for it. But I do love ceramics and finished ceramics. So, but the fibers are definitely a little bit more my speed.
How many spots remain for the Wild Clay Ceramics Workshop?
Currently, we believe we have 11 spots open right now.
Perfect. And if we can get, hey, Kathryn, I'm feeling good. If we can get 11 people signed up today, we're in really good business August the 8th.
Yes, that would be terrific. The sooner the better, because then we can assure people that we are prepared for them, and then they know that their spot is secure. We will take reservations up to 1 week before, which is August 1st, but the more we know of how many we're going to have in advance, so please don't be a last-minute person.
Please don't do this to Kathryn.
It's hard on teachers because then they can't prepare and know that, oh yeah, I'm going to have a full class or not. So
well, and you're right, because it's not like a math class where you can always have an extra calculator on your drawer. You're preparing for, getting clay prepared and all of that, and definitely need to know. So if you could, folks, if you know this is of interest for you, your family, your little ones over 12 and older, of course, you can go online and get those spots booked immediately. And Kathryn, how big of a spot do you guys have up in Kampsville? How many acres?
I couldn't even tell you because everything's spread out. I have not a clue.
Well, it's just amazing to me, Kathryn, because this is I'm just been on your website, and just the last couple of days since I spoke with you about the workshop, it's just learning about all of these really great things that you guys have done up there, and then the opportunities that await us. I got to come up and see you.
Please do, and I would encourage anybody who's interested in the excavation work that we're doing this summer. We are in the middle of the field school. We've got one more week of high school field school after this, and then the college age, the adult field school starts. We do offer tours of the excavation, but you must call the office to schedule those to make sure that they're going to actually be in the field at that time, and that somebody's there to handle the tour.
Absolutely. And as we get back, Kathryn, we have a couple of minutes left. If you could, elevator pitch for us the Wild Clay Ceramics Workshop, so that way we can make sure we got all of those details we needed.
Okay. Come join us August 8th through 11th for a wild clay workshop where you will learn from artist Kyle Bird how to harvest wild clay, prepare it for use, turn it into a finished ceramic vessel, and fire it so that it stays in that shape, and you can take it home and enjoy it for years to come. It's ages 12 and over, and you may stay in our housing if you wish, or come just drive up every day. And I guess that's it.
I just think
it's a lot of fun. It's a great learning time, and it's just something different.
Well, and honestly, I just think it's really cool that there's the grants out there, and there's a good partnership there, and it just seems very solid all the way through, Kathryn. And thank you so much for your time today, and thank you so much for making this work. And I'm glad that we were able to finally get to talking about the Wild Clay Ceramics Workshop coming up August 8th through the 11th for only $100. 11 spots remain. Get yours now by going online to CAA-archaeology.org, or you can give them a phone call at the office. Kathryn, you have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Thank you. You too.
Well, thank you. We'll take a quick break at 10:36. More of our daily show. Hit you next.